Welcome. Do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe. The retired Archbishop of the Methodist Church Nigeria, the Most Reverend Ayo Ladigbolu, has revealed the Alaafin'S greatest frustration till his death. The Most Reverend Ayo Ladigbolu is of the royal lineage to the throne of the Alaafin of Oyo. The revered clerics for bears had ruled Oyo Kingdom till the death of the immediate past occupant of the stool, Ọba Lamidi Ọláyíwọlá Adéyẹmí III. Ba Ladigbolu shared a most robust relationship with him as brothers, confidants, and friends. Well, in an interview conducted by Laolu Afolabi and Kendo Oyetimi, the Reverend speaks about the frustration, aspirations, accomplishments, and unfulfilled wishes of the late Ọba Lamidi Adéyẹmí. When asked during the interview how deep his relationship was with the Alaafin of Oyo, Ladigbolu replied, "As most people would know, we were born into the same family. Alaafin Atiba started it all here in Oyo, and his children continued. Alowolodu and Agunloye. That is why those are the two ruling houses recognized by the law. We came from the same root and the same foundation, but it is unusual in our kind of setup for princes to be friends. They are family, but they may not be friends. But God just worked it out that our late father, we happened to be brothers and friends. I believe that it was God's own doing that it happened to be so. For both of us, sometimes we wondered and looked at each other saying, see how far we've made it together for more than 4 decades. We had our misunderstandings, but nobody ever stood between us to say, let us settle this issue for you." When asked, how did you achieve this? He said, it is God. He would say it publicly most times that I am disposed more to listen carefully and enduring situations and persevering. That it sometimes could be impulsive, quick to react, and maybe easily angered. But God created us to be opposites in that kind of direction to the point that even we disagreed. It was never difficult for us to reconcile and continue, so people would never really know if there had ever been a breach or misunderstanding between us. He knew that my purpose of befriending him and supporting him was to help him as a person to succeed better in his administration of this kingdom, and for the throne of the Alaafin to continue to be glorified. He knew that basically I was looking for nothing else. That gave me the courage to move on by doing what I needed to do, even when people sometimes did not understand, even when people sometimes thought I was too supportive of him. I didn't always share his own political positions. Everybody knows in this area that I am neutral political because members of all political parties are my people and they all have access to my house. But I loved him and he loved me. My closeness to him enabled me because when I retired 16 years ago, I deliberately decided to move back to Oyo simply because I wanted to work with the Alaafin to see that his community makes significant progress. We thank God that we have a lot of things to point to today as evidence of progress. Of course, we have not gotten there yet. We are still on the move, but at least so far so good. But this man, Ọba Lamidi Ọláyíwọlá Adéyẹmí, was a personification of Yoruba elegance and excellence in every way you can think. For me, his passing is the loss of a friend, brother, and a confidant. He was a man so passionate about Nigeria and about the Yoruba nation. When asked during the years and interaction with the Alaafin, what would he describe as his major frustration till his passing? Well, Ladigbolu replied that his major frustration was that Nigeria has never had a kind of leadership that thought more about the people. That we had really not had the leadership that is able to understand the complexity of the nation called Nigeria. In 1914, when the amalgamation document was signed by the Alaafin Senior Bola Ladigbolu Kábíyèsí Ladigbolu lamented that what the British was trying to do was bring predecessors and praise together. He warned that the consequences may not be pleasant, But he then thought that if the leaders and managers of affairs were prudent enough, wise enough, they may be able to manage the contraption. That fear continues to manifest itself in the realities of what we have been through, particularly from 1960 to date. And the late Alaafin was so confined about how we could get to the point where we all would accept that this is our country and try together to build it as one country. That for me was one of his major frustrations. Then how would the Yoruba play the leadership roles as exemplars, as Omo Oluwabi, so that even if we are complaining about others, how much of ourselves can they see as a model to copy? This was except for Baba Awolowo, whom the late Alaafin idolized in spite of all the political differences that they had. He had no issues with the person of the man, but with the organizations he headed and so on. For him, Baba Awolowo was the model of a leader in so many ways. This was because of the things he did to brighten the lives of people, to change the gloomy days into glory. That was part of his passion. He wanted to see a Yoruba nation where culture is elevated, respected, honored, and this was why he was very careful and selective even in matters of chieftaincy titles. It will tell you that chieftaincy title in Oyo was not for sale. It would have to look for the virtues. Money has never been number one among the values of the Yoruba nation. But are you a good person? Are you a self-respecting person? Do you have a means of livelihood? Are you respected by our family and your neighbors? Then if you have money, people will know the source of your money and they would either love or hate you for it. Ladigbolu continued further that the Alaafin was one who cared about family because he was one to embrace all members of the royal household. Whichever wing you came from, whether you were Alowolodu or Agunloye, you were his child once you stepped into the palace. And if you needed help, he was there. He was the father of all to render it. He was passionate about religious harmony, making the palace was an orator, a confluence where all religions merged from the progress of the kingdom. That is why we regularly hold interreligious meetings and services in the place. It permitted us Christians to have a place of worship more than 20 years ago. He said that the place is still there today. The Muslims have theirs, of course, there are various shrines in the palace for the traditional worshippers. He was passionate about religious harmony and unity. He continued that the Alaafin as a Nigerian was too concerned about the economy of this country and how things were being run. He was privately praying some vigilante groups from about 8 years back. He was paying them from his pocket to guard our farms and villages all along from Oke Ogu down to Oyoye. He continued that he was the grand patron and father of Amotekun and that the government honored him. He said, I thank Governor Seyi Makinde because he saw Alaafin's report. The Alaafin had big files of how much he was paying every month, voluntary, to maintain vigilante groups to protect all our farmlands in Oke, Ogun, and Oyo areas. The government appreciated it, and that was why they made him the grand patron of Amotekun. He believed in community policing as the most effective means of policing. At some point, people said that if one had issues with Alaafin, they only had to see Archbishop Ladigbolu to resolve them. At what stage or year would you say you became intimate friends with him? This is what they asked him, and here is what he said next. We never paid attention to the kind of detail you are trying to exhume. We were just moving on with life. There were times where we did not see for years, when we were traveling all about with the Alake of Abeokuta. I was probably in different directions. The years when he was in Lagos, I was in a different climb. But all of a sudden, we just discovered that we were beginning to talk more and interact better and build confidence in each other, and it just bloomed naturally. This was to the point that one could not say that it was a particular year. This was by the will of God. We just discovered that my heart would be longing for him. Eve would be longing for me, even when I was in far away America, we were communicating. We just discovered something was drawing both of us to keep in touch. He would share with me news of what was going on at home, and I would talk to him about my experiences in America. If I found anybody coming to Nigeria, I would package some things and send to him. He also did the same for me. These were all the things that Ladigbolu said about the late Alaafin of Oyo. He talked about how his relationship with Alaafin of Oyo blossomed and what was Alaafin's greatest frustration till date. He spoke about how the Alaafin loved Nigeria so much and how the Alaafin did various of things to make sure that people in Nigeria were not suffering. People in Yoruba land. He was even said that he paid the people of Amotekun before they even put him as the grand patron. He was paying them voluntarily out of their money to protect the farmlands down from Oke Ogun to Oyo State. So at the end of the day, Paladibolu has revealed everything that the great Alaafin of Oyo did, the late Alaafin of Oyo did for them, and how much of a good man he was, and everything he did till his death. May his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. Do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And if you're just joining us on this channel for the first time, do not forget to turn on your notifications to get more news updates from us and also press the like button and subscribe. Thank you.